Good morning, class 12 students. This is the fifth and final part of the chapter, The Tiger King. And as you are aware, we have already finished the chapter. And in today's session, we will be discussing the textual question answers of the chapter, The Tiger King. So before, I think we are supposed to go through the complete summary, and I think it's important to have a glance over the portion we covered in the last 4 videos. So we will be discussing the summary, and then we will be discussing the question answer, especially the textual ones, because miscellaneous ones we have already done in the form of homework that you received with your last 4 lectures. So let's start with the poem. Let's start the chapter, The Tiger King, and its summary. You are aware it is written by Ramaswamy Iyer Krishnamurthy, who was a Tamil writer, journalist, poet, critic, and yes, Indian independence activist. He is actually a versatile personality, right? He has written so many stories, novels, and historical romances, and his pen name is Kalki, right? As you can see, it is written here. Whenever he writes, he uses his pen name Kalki. Okay, so what this chapter is all about, the chapter is actually a satire on the powerful king of previous times, of olden times, right? And you could actually see the impact of prophecies in those times. Astrologers and their prophecies, they would predict the future of the king before their birth and after their birth. So you will see this element here also, and you will see the Tiger King. When he was born, it was predicted that he would be killed by the 100th tiger, and in a rage to fulfill in a rage to make the prophecy false one, he started the tiger hunt. And let's find out. I mean, you're already aware now that what happened in the end, because we have finished the chapter, and today we are just discussing the summary once again, so that you could understand. I mean, you could have you will not forget it, and it is always better to revise things, right, in order to keep them fresh in your mind. So it is actually you can say that the king turned out to be a very stupid one, right? Because you could see his stupidity, that how do the king behaves, and he did not behave like a king, because king's priority is his subject and the welfare, and he is supposed to be just. But we don't see any qualities in the Tiger King, although he's strong, but I think he lacks the intelligence. So the Tiger King, it is a story of of king. He's known as Jang Bahadur of Pratibandampuram, you know and also it is shortened as the Tiger King, right? So when he was born, his death had been predicted, uh, and the chief astrologers, he predicted that the royal child, because he was born in the hour of the bull. So tiger is his enemy, so his death would come from the tiger. Understand? And it was a very surprising and extraordinary thing that this 10 days infant, he spoke, and he actually he asked a very logical question, and then the brave prince asked all tigers to beware of him, right? And that's how he came to be known as Tiger King. And then when he attained the age of 20, right? Understand? Because in those times, if you can actually kill anybody in self-defense, right? In self-defense, so it is actually very lawful, it's not illegal. So the Tiger King, he also went on a tiger killing spree, because now he has this justification that he has to kill 100 tiger in order to save himself or defend himself. So he started killing the tiger, right? And he was also warned of danger from the 100 tiger, because the king was able to kill, like, the 20th, 30th and 99 tiger, but he was told that the 100 tiger will be the one who would kill him, right? And then what happened, he faced problem when he started this tiger hunting, or as all the tigers in his kingdom, they became extinct, and he still, he did not have any more tiger to kill. So then he decided that he would marry into a state where the tiger population is good. So he married a girl or a queen from a state where she has ample number of tigers. And then again his tiger hunting began, and every time he would visit, his father-in-law, he would kill 3 or 4 tigers, right? And then what happened, finally the king has managed to kill 99 tiger without being harmed, although he faced, problems or difficulties while killing the tiger, because sometimes it bullet missed its mark, and sometimes the tiger, it leapt upon him and all that problems. But he was but still he managed to kill the tiger, and he has killed 99 tigers so far. So now he's desperately looking for the 100 tiger. But the problem is, even the state where he was married uh, has no population of tiger now. I mean, the tiger population has become extinct, and this is actually very ridiculous. How stupid this king is, that in this stupid rage he has killed even, he has he is being the reason of the extinction of tiger. Understand? And children, it is not just story. In those times, I mean, the king and the British, they were actually very fond of killing animals and tigers, right? They killed animal for their fun, and this is very bad. Understand? So that is also being portrayed in this poem, that how stupid the human beings were, and the kings and the British officers in those times, that they I mean, they killed so many animals for their fun. Understand? So what happened, uh, now he's looking for the 100 tiger, and now he's very frustrated and irritated. And so fearing the how the king would react, the minister planted an old tiger in the forest for him to kill, right? And the king, he fired at it, but the tiger escaped the bullet, and he died. I mean, he just fainted, he did not die. And the king was so happy that he has killed the 100 tiger, and he said that, his carcass, tiger's carcass, would be brought into the court, into Pratibandampuram, with great procession, right? And when the royal hunters, they examined the tiger, they found the tiger was alive, because the tiger missed the bullet, and the tiger got fainted because of the sound of the bullet, right? And they thought that if they would tell this, already the population of tiger is, it's extinct, so obviously they cannot produce one more tiger. And if they would tell the king that, it was not the king who killed the tiger, the king would be very angry. So the hunters, they killed the tiger, not the king, they killed the tiger. Understand? And the king was so satisfied that he had, escaped his death, and now he was celebrating his son's third birthday, right? And he decided to present his son a wooden toy tiger, which he bought from a market, and it was actually very unprofessionally built, right? And it was a very cheap one, but the shopkeeper, it was poorly done, but the shopkeeper, fearing punishment under the rules of emergency, charged a high price from the king, right? So both the king and his son were playing with the tiger, and because it was not professionally built, it was very rough. So one of the thin pieces of wood, it was actually, because of uneven surface, it was erupting, and it pierced into king's right hand. And the king, the king has got this wound, and he became infectious, and this, and it spread through his arms, and then he was being operated. 3 surgeons were called, but the king died. So ironically, the 100 tiger killed the king, and eventually took its revenge. So why it is ironically, because he was able to kill the 100 tiger, I mean he was able to kill the 99 tiger, but it was not the actual king, actual tiger who killed the king. It was just, it was what, it was the wooden tiger, it was the silver from the wooden tiger that killed the king. So it is very ironical. So now, children, it's time for us to discuss the question answer. And as you must, I believe you are aware, because you must have seen it is on the news, that now you will have term 1 and term 2, and term 1 is completely based on MCQ. It's a 90 minutes exam, your board exam, 90 minute, right? You will have term 1 and term 2, and in term 1 you will have your 50% syllabus, and in term 1 you will not have long questions or short question. In term 2 you will have long and short questions, but in term first you will have lots of MCQs, right? Conceptual based, case study based, and all that, and many other. So you have to prepare, but you cannot skip question answers, because it is likely that a lot of MCQs will be asked. If you will go through the question answers, obviously there will be MCQs which will be, you will see that, you will see the answer, or you will see the question that they have asked in the MCQs. It is actually, the question is similar to the questions that you have in your textbooks, right? But it is in the MCQ form, not in the subjective form, right? So that is why it is important to go through the question answers also. So let me highlight the first question. The story is a satire on the conceit of those in power. How does the author employ the literary device of dramatic irony in the story? Yes, literally, this is, the king was, he was full of pride. He thought that he could achieve anything, that he could even, defeat his death. And he tried to prove the predictions of the straight astrologers as false. So, who had predicted the death for the king, right? By a tiger. And the king, he killed one, he cautioned him, but ironically what happened, the king killed the 100 tiger, right, also, and he overpowered death. But as it was destined to be, right, the tiger escaped the bullet immediately. And right, and how he died, it is actually, he died a very satirical death that came to him by a wooden toy tiger, which he himself bought as a present or birthday gift for his son, because a tiny piece of wood from the toy, it wounded the tiger's king's hand, and finally he was killed. So this was very unexpected end, right, of the end of the mighty Maharaja, the Tiger King, the Jung Bahadur. So what is the author's indirect comment on subject innocent animals to the willfulness of human beings? I think this is the important, and this is actually you actually need to focus on this part, on this question part, because the author is indicating that the king is, yes, he's strong, he's mighty, and he has killed so many innocent animals just merely to prove the the astrologer wrong, right, and the prophecy false, right? And he did not even realize that this the consequences of his action, and that how bad they were. He did not accept destiny, right, which was obviously on its way, because he killed tigers, but and he killed so many tigers. I think it was vain. It was vain from king's side, but it was actually very harsh and bad. It was very cruel, right? And later in the end we see that king was not killed by the real tiger, it was just killed by the 100 tigers. So either the prophecy, or maybe the prophecy, and the king was himself very wrong, because the prophecy did not specify this thing. Also, you can answer this question this way too. The astrologer never mentioned about the real tiger, or the tiger, or the wooden tiger, right? So he did not accept the destiny which has its own way as death, right? And yes, it came upon him by a lifeless wooden tiger. So how would you describe the behavior of Maharaja ministers towards him? I think minions towards him. Do you find them truly sincere towards him, or are they driven by fear when they obey him? Do we find similarity in today's political order? Yes, they're actually, I don't think so. These minions or ministers, they are very smart. Yes, they are they're actually afraid of the king, right? Yes, they are afraid of the king because they did not want the king, and they were so foolish. They never raised question because of the fear. Yes, the king's minions, they feared him, and they are always trying to please the king, right? They always wanted to keep him happy, so that is why whenever they spoke, they only spoke pleasant things, right? So that the king wouldn't mind. Understand? And the astrologers, they were initially reluctant to predict the king's future. They did not wanted to tell, but they were forced. It was when the king asked them to speak without fear that he spoke. Understand? And yes, the minister, they did not even advise the king not to kill so many innocent animals, right? Rather, they searched the kingdom with a high population of tigers for the king. So we can say that minions and the ministers, they were all foolish. And yes, the royal hunters too, they also did not inform the king about the 100 tiger being alive, right? Because they feared they would lose their jobs, that is mentioned in the chapters, right? And yes, the shopkeeper who sold the tiger to the king, the wooden tiger, he told him that it was professionally built, and he also charged high price because he feared punishment. So the king is not just, and even the people he is surrounded by, they are stupid and they are morons, right? So in today's political order, we do see such ministers and followers, right? Their subordinates, they are so stupid. They are in order to please their seniors, right? They do not, I mean, if they belong to a particular party, they will never talk about their flaws or shortcomings. They will only uh, pin, or they only point fingers at the flaws of other parties. So this should not happen. Even if you belong to a party or particular party, and if you see that they're not doing the correct things, you should raise. That's what makes you human beings, right? Otherwise, you will just a dumb person. I cannot even say animals, because even in today's world, even animals are very intelligent, right? So can you relate instances of game hunting among the rich and the powerful in the present times that illustrate callousness of human beings towards wildlife? So there are so many, you can find about it. This is value based question. There are so many sports that involves animals. You can find about it. We do have it, right? We need a new system for the age of ecology, a system which is embedded in the care of all people and also in care of the earth. And this is again the value based question. You can do it on your own. So children, that's all for for today's session. We have already done the MCQs. Now we will do some very short questions and short questions of the chapter. So I think we are done with the chapter. Now we will be studying the new chapter in the new lecture. So have a nice day, everyone. Please watch the video from the beginning to the end faithfully, positively, and do look for the homework, complete it and solve it, submit it. Thank you, everyone.